What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. Did CNBC just admit that there was short selling on AMC? I'm going to be giving you the scoop. I've been getting a lot of comments and questions about this for me to make an update on this today. So excuse the shabby attire. I was actually on my way out to the gym, but I wanted to make a quick video for you guys. And I will give you the most pertinent data to try and tell whether there is actually naked shorting going on AMC. Newsflash, no, it's not that hilarious video of Melissa Lee's face circulating the internet. And don't worry, I'm not going to be giving you the same drivel that other YouTubers are giving you in order to generate views on their videos. I will always try to give you objective and useful data, something that you can actually use in your trading, in your research, and in your DD. So let's get right into it. So here's the CNBC video that everybody is circulating that supposedly proves that there are naked shorts on AMC. And again, I'm going to show you exactly the data that you can use to try and determine whether there is naked shorting on AMC. Newsflash, there likely is, but it's not this video. However, I will play it for you anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm not buying into that. I think that's dangerous. And again, look, there's a lot of people, there are a lot of short sellers out there that have been borrowing stock they didn't have. In other words, yes, I think there are dynamics where retail investors can get caught, but it's really a dynamic where
So everyone's pointing to Melissa Lee's face here. However, if you pay attention, Melissa Lee, while this guy was talking, I forget his name on the bottom right, but while he was talking, she said the word naked shorts. So it's not like he said anything revelatory, right? What he said was general info that naked short selling does happen. And she even said the word naked shorts, and then they panned to her. She was likely reacting to something else. Here, watch it again.
Have been borrowing stock they didn't have. In other words, yes, I think there are dynamics where retail investors can get caught, but it's really a dynamic.
You see, I mean, he didn't say anything revelatory. So anyway, let us skip this nonsense and I will show you what data I'm talking about. All right, first let's take a look at the short interest. You can see over here that the short interest is actually currently around 19%. Now, short interest doesn't get reported every single day, but the last short interest that we have is almost 19%, okay? Now, here's why this is important. Because back in January, when the whole GME AMC thing was going on, AMC's short interest was not that high. It was actually in the single digits, and we still saw a short squeeze on AMC. So keep this in mind as we go along, okay? The short interest is almost 19%, more than double what it was in January. So while there could be intermittent short squeeze effects going on every single day, you see there are huge price fluctuations. The actual short squeeze that is needed to bring this thing down back to the single digits has not happened. Now, as you know, I'm on record as saying that I do think that hedge funds are playing both sides. I do think they are dumping money into call options and making money from that. And then once the stock price starts dropping, because they eventually think this will be over, right? So once the stock price starts dropping, then they can make money on the short. So let me just put that on record that I do think that institutions and hedge funds are playing both sides. But that's neither here nor there. Let's keep going on with the data. Here's where shit starts to get suspicious, okay? Let's look at AMC's. Now, float is just a fancy term for shares that are available to be traded, right? You have the shares outstanding minus any sort of insider shares. The float is what is available to you and me, okay? So it's 448 million total shares for AMC, okay? Now, let's look at the actual volume data, and this is straight from NASDAQ's website. So this is not any sort of Alex Jones type conspiracy. Look at the volume traded, right? Going all the way back to May 27th. We have days that are almost double the float, okay? 705 million, 660 million, 508 million, 766 million, 500. So basically, you are seeing volume that exceeds the number of shares that are available to trade. Now, that does not necessarily mean short selling, but our antennas are starting to get raised. And this may be a good time just to explain very briefly what naked short selling is. Short selling is not illegal, okay? Naked shorting is illegal. It was outlawed. Naked shorting is basically creating shares out of thin air and shorting those. So shorting more shares than are available. As a matter of fact, there was a famous news story back in the mid-2000s on a company called Global Links. Now, this is what is very interesting, is that there was an investor, and I don't know if he was doing it as an experiment or if he was really investing in the company. But there was an investor named Robert Simpson. Let me find the actual section of the article that talks about that. And I promise this ties into the actual data that we will want to see to try to determine whether naked shorting is going on. So this Robert Simpson guy purchased 100% of the shares outstanding for GlobalLink, meaning he bought every share that was available to buy. And he did that in February of 2006. As of August, which was the time that this article was written, he had not yet received any of those shares, right? These are called failure to deliver. Now, this is because GlobalLinks was shorted so heavily that the guy who bought 100% of the company was not even able to get one share delivered to him yet. All right, so this failure to deliver has to be reported to the SEC, and the SEC actually has a website showing failure to delivers. And as a matter of fact, for your sake and for mine, I looked up the failure to deliver reports for AMC. This is insane. You could take a look back in January. The failure to delivers were at an all-time high. You had a few spikes, one on January 7th, one on January 19th, and one on January 26th, right? This was the height of the GMC AME saga. GME AMC saga. On January 26th, there were 27.7 million shares that failed to deliver. This is almost certainly due to naked short selling. Where are we at now? Well, we have had a few failure to delivers in the millions of shares for AMC in May. And while these spikes are not yet as violent as in January, it indicates that there may be forms of short selling, naked short selling, still going on. Remember, short selling is not illegal. Naked short selling is. And I also want to point out that just because there are fails to deliver, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the result of abusive naked short selling. However, when you see these statistical spikes here, when us apes and retail traders are trying to sniff these short sells out, when you see these spikes here, this is likely indicative that there are naked shorts outstanding, or else you wouldn't see these spikes. You would see regular ranges like we saw here back in March when it was pretty quiet, or after the GME AMC fiasco in January, in February where this was pretty quiet. But now in May, we're starting to see these spikes as people are buying more shares of AMC. And as people buy and hoard more shares of AMC, there are more failure to delivers reported to the SEC. So just for comparison, if you want to contrast this with a stock that is likely not heavily shorted and definitely not heavily naked shorted, right? Here is Microsoft's failure to deliver chart from the SEC going all the way back to 2019. Look how flat and sleepy this is. Yeah, on a few days you have just a few tiny spikes, but we're talking about, these small statistical anomalies. It's nowhere near what we just saw with AMC. This is what a normal failure to deliver chart looks like. Now, for a stock that we know was actually heavily shorted, here's what GME's chart looks like going all the way back to 2019. But you could see these crazy spikes totaling in the tens of millions of shares. And even if we go back to Ortex and we look up GME, you'll see that there was, as a matter of fact, reported short interest of above 100%, right? So this was definitely naked shorted. See, if you go back to December and January, you can see the short interest. This was reported to the exchanges. The short interest was over 100%, which is statistically impossible unless someone was naked shorted. So with that said, just to wrap it up, the two things on AMC that point to potential naked shorting is the fact that we have much more shares traded than available, right? Now, obviously, this could be because day traders are buying and selling shares the same day. So there could be more transactions than there are shares. However, that is the first red flag that you have to look at, right? Even if this isn't a result of naked shorting, this is, as a matter of fact, signs that point to me that this is not only retail traders that are engaging in the buying and selling of AMC shares. So even if this volume here does not represent naked shorting, it definitely represents institutional involvement in what's going on right now, right? They're not stupid. They're going to try and make money as well. But the second and most real thing that gives me pause is these failures to deliver here. Why are we seeing these spikes in May? And the most recent data for the second half of May and now the beginning of June hasn't come out yet. But I will post this link, the SEC's website. I will post that in the description so that you can keep tracking it on your own, because you will want to see if this starts spiking up and we get to these levels back in January, then you can almost be certain that there is naked shorting going on. And lastly, in terms of trading, right? To me, We did have a slowdown in volume on Friday, but it is Friday and we can't keep up this insane volume. 700 million, 600 million, 500 million, 700 million, 600 million, right? These are insane numbers of shares. So of course on Friday we did have a slowdown, about 337.7 million traded on Friday. But just based on the short interest here, we're nowhere near single digits on the short interest here. So as long as apes keep holding and or buying, we could potentially see a true short squeeze where we knock this down back to the single digits. Again, this is not financial advice at all. I'm not saying go out and buy AMC. Do whatever your risk tolerance and your analysis tells you to do. I'm just reporting the information and giving you some data points that could potentially help you in your own analysis. Do whatever is good for you. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. Do what's good for you. I will leave links to all of these data points in the description below so that you could check it out for yourself. Ortex is actually a paid solution. I think I pay, I don't know, $49 a month for it or something. I don't think that I have a link that could potentially give you a discount on this. I could be wrong. If you do see one in the description, then I have found the link. But if you don't see one, then sorry, I don't have one. But Ortex is paid. However, the rest of the stuff that I showed you here, whether we're talking about the SEC site or the NASDAQ site, I mean, all the stuff is free. Anyway, traders, hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, leave it a big fat thumbs up. Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this. And if you want to join our wonderful private trading community, link is in the description below. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. Peace.